Just when you think the Liberal Party could not melt down any further, they surprise us. Today, breaking news out of Ottawa shows a Liberal Party in extreme disarray. And today, once again, it's Justin Trudeau's fault. So there's a few things that I want to break down for you on what has happened today. It has been an incredibly busy news day, and it all has to do with Justin Trudeau, his crazy PMO, his crazy policies, as well as some of the backstabbing and crazy things that are happening within his caucus. So there's big stories happening. I want to break it down for you. You guys know that Justin Trudeau is censoring people like me with bills C11, C18, and now they've got bill C63. These are censorship bills. I need you to click on the link in the comments. I am writing to you. It's a free newsletter. Please subscribe. Everything that I'm going to talk about here is in this article with links so that you can read through it, share it with friends. It's really important that you click subscribe. It's free. It helps me get the word out to you. Also share this video and click subscribe to this channel so that you get notified when I bring this information to you. And I'll remind you again in a minute. So what's happening in Ottawa today? Everybody in Canada woke up to this article. It's written by very well-known and well-respected reporter Robert Fife. Tension rises between Freeland PMO over economic messaging, low approval ratings. And guys, this article is something else. In it, Justin Trudeau, an anonymous source, which of course it's somebody from Justin Trudeau's PMO. There's nobody that would go to Bob Fife with this type of knowledge if it wasn't an approved leak. So just to be very clear, right? Somebody went and threw Chrystia Freeland under the bus, basically blamed her, said, well, you know, Justin Trudeau's looking to replace her with Mark Carney, carbon tax Mark Carney, because it's her communications fault that the polling is so low. It's because she can't communicate. That's why the Liberals are doing so badly. So like Freeland or not, have you seen this movie before? I sure have. What does Justin Trudeau do every time he gets in trouble? He does what? He throws one of his female cabinet ministers under the bus, right? We've seen this movie before. He did do this with Bill Morneau as well, but this is what he did with Jody Wilson-Raybould, with Jane Philippot, with former MP Selena Cesar-Chavez, and this is something that he does over and over again. So if you click on the link in the comments, I break down this whole article for you and what it means. But let me give you the highlights. Okay, so why is he doing this? Why would he do this today? So first of all, he talks about how, and then there was a later article today explaining this further in the Globe and Mail, that he's trying to recruit Mark Carney to be his finance minister. So Freeland's out, Carney, he wants Carney to be in. So Mark Carney has been circling around Trudeau's bloated carcass of a political career like a turkey vulture for the last several months, and that's not helpful to Justin Trudeau, right? Because as long as Mark Carney is cawing around his Justin Trudeau's political career, it's hard for Trudeau to cling to power, right? So he needed a way to clip Mark Carney's wings. And what better way to do that than to offer him the finance minister role, where he could carry the same water that Chrystia Freeland has been doing, like basically holding the bag for all of Justin Trudeau's junky policies. The thing is, if Mark Carney doesn't take this job, then it's like, oh, well, he's not loyal to the cause. So either way, this is not good for Mark Carney. I find it amusing if it wasn't for the fact that this type of junk is deeply, it leads to huge instability. Like, who wants to invest in Canada when the Prime Minister is doing this sort of junk with his finance minister, right? It's insane. So the other thing that, the other reason that he's doing this is he needs what? He needs a scapegoat. And, you know, that, I guess that's Chrystia Freeland. Chrystia Freeland, like, has been one of his most loyal foot soldiers, I think stupidly carrying his water for nearly a decade. But, like, in spite of that, he is willing to, in these rumors today, it shows that he's willing to brutally, you know, like, really snuff anyone out. If it's convenient for him to hold power. So what he's trying to do here is build a narrative that it's Chrystia Freeland's fault that they lost the by-election. It's Chrystia Freeland's fault. And you know what's really disgusting about all of this is that he went out and smeared her, right, through these anonymous sources, just like he did with these other women, without any chance for her to respond. So like Chrystia Freeland or not, like, I don't think she's a great finance minister, putting it mildly, but for Justin Trudeau to try and pin the blame of his failures on a woman like that, oh, that's pretty gross, right? So again, if the link in the comments, click subscribe. I break all of this down for you, but there's one more thing as well, and that is that Justin Trudeau needs to calm down his caucus. His caucus has been out there. They've been anonymous sourcing him in news articles saying, oh, you know, I don't like Justin Trudeau, maybe he needs to go, or blah, 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 blah. Like, this is the first time in a decade we've heard some of them complain. What happens if there's rumors of a cabinet shuffle? Well, all of a sudden, like, his backbench, who aren't known for independent thought, but are known for like self-serving complacency, all of a sudden they might be like, oh, maybe I could get a car and a driver if he's going to turf Chrystia Freeland. And then what happens? Everybody goes silent, right? So we all know what this type of a story means for Canada's economy. It doesn't mean that your life gets any more affordable. It doesn't mean that any more houses get built in Canada. It doesn't mean that anything gets fixed. We know that this leads to more instability and worse problems for Canada. But what it might do is, and what I think Justin Trudeau is literally trying to do, is just buy a couple of days of vacation for himself, so that while people are talking about whether or not Chrystia Freeland should be finance minister, hopefully nobody's talking about him as prime minister. And I know that sounds crazy, because you and I know that he is not fit to be prime minister. Even Jody Wilson-Raybould, his former justice minister, who he unceremoniously served, she was out on Twitter today basically saying, well, she did say this, that the Liberals aren't fit to govern. So I break all of this down. Again, the link is in the comments. Click subscribe because of the censorship bills. I try to write this analysis out to you to deliver it to your inbox so that you are kept aware, because this is not in the mainstream media right now. But I want to answer one more question that many of you have been asking that relates to all of this. And is Justin Trudeau going to stay, or is he going to go? What is his caucus going to do? His caucus must be able to force him out, right? Well, if you click on the link in the comments and go through my Substack page, there's actually another article that I wrote earlier this week about how Justin Trudeau has nothing to fear from his caucus. And I break down all the reasons why. Like, a lot of people will talk about the fact that, and I'm sure some of you might not realize this, the Liberal Party does not allow, their constitution doesn't have any mechanism for the membership or the caucus to turf a leader. There's no mechanism for them to do that at this point in time. So they can't use the party's governance. Other parties, like the Conservative Party, they have this, right? They have that type of a mechanism. The Liberals do not. The other thing that the Liberals did is they voted to remove their powers under a bill called the Reform Act that would have allowed their caucus to remove the leader from office. The fact that they don't have any mechanism in their constitution or their party governance and then did that is crazy. So the caucus doesn't actually have the power to remove him, but that doesn't mean that they don't have any lever to get rid of him. There's all sorts of parliamentary procedures that they could use to make make Justin Trudeau's life difficult and force his hand. If they were so concerned about him and his leadership, you know, a few of them could go and sit as a collection of independents. There's multiple different ways that they could draw attention to their cause, but they're not doing this. And why is their caucus not doing this? Because they haven't done it for a decade. You know, have any of you seen any of Justin Trudeau's backbench speak up with any sort of independence of thought or concern beyond their personal promotion or against the party? You know, other parties, caucus members, you know, I've even done this from time to time, will get up and voice concerns about certain policy issues if they don't feel like they're being heard. It's not, you know, it's not to come out against the party. It's to be like, to identify risk, or even within the confines of a caucus meeting to be able to say, like, hey, maybe we should be doing something different. And typically those concerns get resolved within a caucus. But in Justin Trudeau's caucus, what I've heard is that caucus members, like his members of parliament, actually have to register to speak at these caucus meetings. They have to pre-register with him. And not only that, some of them have called for a caucus meeting this summer, and their caucus chair's like, oh no, you know, they're scheduling concerns, we can't do that. Yet, do you see any of them like just holding a meeting anyways? No, of course you don't. And that's because the Liberal caucus is not going to force him out. The only way Justin Trudeau is going anywhere is one of two things. He personally decides to retire, or you elect him out in the next election. Those are the scenarios here. And that's why, again, going back to these articles that I've written, this is why This is why he's trying to do these things with Freeland, Mark Carney, because he's trying to just buy time, right? He's trying to buy time because this isn't about you. This isn't about making your life more affordable. This is all about clinging to power for him. So this is the state that we find ourselves in, the Canadian government. It is ridiculous. Like it is actually disgusting how Justin Trudeau operates. But I want you to share this information because anybody who is still considering or thinking maybe that like, oh, well, the Liberals aren't that bad. It's like, no, actually they are. They are. Like, who does this? Like, this is crazy. But again, this article, I lay it all out for you. The link is in the comments. Please click subscribe. Please share this video. But if you do click subscribe, it allows me to get